Oh, girl, baby girl.
Oh, really?
Don't even play.
Baby girl? I don't think
we are going to
so.
move, and we're going to take your words down.
I second that motion.
Ms. Green, do you wish to strike your words?
AOC launched into a fiery rant with bizarre arguments to block fossil fuel amendments and doubling down on the Green New Deal fantasy. But before she could finish, a MAGA veteran stepped in and ripped her claims to shreds with facts and brutal clarity. What followed was a massive humiliation that left AOC with no counterpunch.
So what I'm hearing is that despite all of this talk that Donald Trump and the Republican Party have about driving down energy costs, their first decisions are actually to drive up energy costs, including prices at the pump across the United States. And that has knock-on effects across the entire economy, right? These prices are not just contained. They're not just hiking prices on oil and gas. Oil and gas prices will then hike up prices on groceries and pretty much any good that gets transported, as well as housing and construction, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, and so we are looking at almost an all-economy increase in prices, and that has also been backed up in previous price changes as well. In fact, oil production, and what we've seen is that in 2023, and some of these gas price increases, we saw knock-on effects across the entire economy before, right, with gas?
Yes.
Okay, so I think what we need to really hone in on here is the fact that what we're seeing is that the Trump administration is saying one thing, but doing another. And if the Trump administration is promising to lower energy prices, it's important for us to ask, why are they making decisions to do the opposite?
Chair now recognizes the gentleman from Michigan's 10th District for 5 minutes for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Apparently, Democrat gaslighting produces zero emissions. But what does their radical agenda mean for constituents in my districts and your districts who pay more at the pump, who pay more for groceries? Folks in Southeast Michigan have experienced their jobs being extinct, being shipped to other states, being shipped to other countries because Green New Deal woke policies do not work in the real world. Let's look at this from a 30,000-foot view. Over the past 4 years, every American has footed a higher gas bill, higher energy costs, and rising prices to keep their cars running and their homes heated. Under the Biden-Harris administration, they totally bent over to the radical left. We stopped producing cleaner, affordable energy in America to fit a narrative that only serves coastal elites and the rich in New York and California. What did this lead to? Our strategic petroleum reserves hit lows we haven't seen since I was a baby. That meant U.S. relying on energy that was unclean, energy that I would note are from dictators and despots in Moscow and Beijing and Tehran. Here's the inconvenient truth for my friends on the left. Energy produced and developed here in America is cleaner, it's safer, and it doesn't threaten our national security. In fact, it bolsters it. And what's worse, relying on our adversaries for energy means American jobs go down, not up. My constituents in the Detroit area are all too familiar with this, seeing the reckless policy effects of the EV mandates. Another failed policy billable to the Biden administration is importing sour crude, which has funded our adversaries. And we talk about infrastructure investments on the left side. Well, how about shutting down the Keystone Pipeline, which got rid of 11,000 union jobs? Now, the Democrats' Green New Deal agenda is the grim reaper for American jobs and actually clean energy. Being able to actually move forward into a future where we can all have cheaper, safer, cleaner energy is our goal. All of the above is the approach. Last year, I spoke on the House floor about how Biden's war on LNG was going to harm Michigan specifically. We have 1.1 trillion cubic feet in underground storage, which is one-eighth of the entire nation's natural gas storage capacity. Given DTE and consumers' baseload requirements that are increasing over the years versus the regulations in Michigan, we've been dealing with heavy-handed restrictions on building additional natural gas facilities and the supporting infrastructure requirements that we need to convey that safely with less power outages across the state. With a Republican House, Republican Senate, and White House, what can this Congress do to scale up natural gas as a reliable source? Again, Mr. McCown.
Well, there are several things we can do. Number one is we can stop the war on fossil fuels. We can have revised permitting. We can invoke public-private partnerships, loan guarantees. Some of the very same things that have been done for the renewable industry could be done to expand our natural gas or other fossil fuel industry too. It should be a level playing field for everybody.
We all want clean air. We all want clean water. We all want to reduce pollution. But we also don't want to send our countrymen to the poorhouse trying to pay for sunshine and rainbows.
I think the argument of we cannot study something because other stuff is happening just misses the point that we are addressing federal lands here. And looking at the last sentence, which is the operable sentence, it says, the committee will perform oversight to understand how federal fossil fuel programs impact community health and safety, period. And so that's all that says. But I would also point out that when the chair of the Southern Ute tribe testified here, they do have an amazing, and I have visited the Southern Ute, they are a model program for a lot of what they do. But he also always pointed out that they are also pursuing renewable energy projects because they recognize that that is really important, and they are always very federal forward-looking. They're an amazing, have had amazing leadership over the years. I'd like to have the rest of my time. Representative Ocasio-Cortez, would you like to take it?
Thank you, Representative. You know, I think, again, when you look at the text here, while we see that there is historic disproportionate impact, including communities of color, it is not limited to communities of color. We also discuss low-income communities, as well as any frontline or vulnerable community, regardless of race. Historically, we have seen some of those disproportionate impacts, but as the representative noted, the active language here is, I would argue, is in the last sentence, which is that the committee will perform oversight to understand how federal fossil fuel programs impact community health and safety. There are no limitations. While there is past data indicating certain income levels of communities, certain frontline communities, this is really about assessing the health impacts on any community that would be potentially exposed to a health risk.
AOC stormed in with fiery accusations about Republicans driving up energy costs, but the MAGA veteran dismantled her with humor, hard numbers, and brutal simplicity. He flipped the debate by exposing Biden's record of higher prices, linking green policies to lost jobs, weakened security, and reliance on foreign dictators. Every punch hit harder. Detroit's auto losses, Keystone's 11,000 jobs gone, Michigan's gas storage crippled by restrictions, all framed as elites pushing fantasy while real families suffer. By the end, AOC's polished lines collapsed under the weight of his common-sense blows, leaving her humiliated and silent as he painted Democrats not as saviors, but as destroyers of American strength.
My colleague from Maryland, Mr. Raskin, asked the panel how many people here believe that child separation is an effective policy in deterrence, and no one on the panel raised their hand. I just wanted to note that for the record, Mr. Chair. I wanted to ask a question from Professor Mukherjee. Is the United States violating or violated human rights agreements set by the United Nations in a family separation policy?
Yes. International law is clear that family unity should be prioritized.
So we, as members of the United Nations, signed on into an international human rights agreement saying very clearly that family separation is a violation of international human rights, and then we pursued a policy that violates human rights. You know, Mr. Chair, I was looking, how did we get to this point? How did we get to this point where we take children out of mothers' and fathers' arms? And, you know, it dated back, family separation in the way that we have seen it, where we take children away from their parents without due process, began last year under Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen, but I had to dig further. And our staff dug further. But where did this start within the administration? She implemented it. And we found a memo. It dates back to April 23rd of 2018, where there was an official recommendation to, quote, pursue prosecution of all amenable adults who cross our border, quote, illegally, even though this applied to legal asylum seekers in practice, including those presenting with a family unit between ports of entry in coordination with DOJ. Here is the memo that I would like to submit to the congressional record.
What is the date on that?
It is the memorandum for the Secretary from Homeland Security.
Date.
April 23rd, 2018, subject increasing prosecutions of immigration violations.
Without objection.
And so I looked at this memo, and it seems like this is the source of it. And it seems as though, Mr. Homan, that you are the author. It says here from yourself, Kevin Michalinen, and Francis Cisna. Is this correct? Did you sign the memo?
I'd have to see what you...
Give him.
I'd be happy to provide it. And we'll provide it over, but I would like to note that here it says the official recommendation. There were 3 different options presented. The third included the option for family separation. This initiative would pursue prosecution of all amenable adults, including those presenting with a family unit. Mr. Homan, your name is on this. Is this correct?
Yes, I signed that memo.
So you are the author of the family separation policy.
I am not the author of this memo.
You're not the author, but you signed the memo.
Yes, a zero tolerance memo.
So you provided the official recommendation to Secretary Nielsen on for the United States to pursue family separation.
I gave Secretary Nielsen numerous recommendations on how to secure the border and save lives.
But it says here that you gave her numerous options, but the recommendation was option 3, family separation.
What I'm saying, this is not the only paper where we've given the Secretary numerous options to secure the border and save lives.
And so the recommendation, of the many that you recommended family separation.
I recommend a zero tolerance.
Which includes family separation.
The same as is with every U.S. citizen parent gets arrested when they're with a child.
Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father
Mr.
from his
Holman,
family.
with all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you're into the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum and go through the port of entry, do it the legal way. The Attorney General of the United States has made that clear.
Okay.